Welcome to Building AI Literacy Skills for Academic Research, hosted by the OSU-Tulsa Library. As AI tools continue to advance and become increasingly integrated into our academic and everyday environments, it is important to consider how we can maintain a balanced approach and effectively leverage our human expertise. This video provides an overview of the core frames of AI literacy, which can help you develop sustainable skills that you can apply across academic, online, workplace, or other real-world scenarios. AI literacy is frequently defined as a set of competencies that enables individuals to critically evaluate AI technologies, communicate and collaborate effectively with AI, and use AI as a tool online, at home, or in the workplace. In Long and McGarrico's What is AI Literacy conference presentation, the authors place AI literacy within the context of scientific, computational, and digital literacies, and discuss how digital literacy is a necessity for understanding AI. They reference questions many people often ask themselves, such as, what is AI? Is it dangerous? How can it help me? Is it objective or subjective? Does it think like I do? Will it take my job? Should I be concerned about my data? And so on. These questions signify the importance of AI literacy and in having a guiding framework from which to operate. In summary, AI literacy is the ability to understand, evaluate, and use artificial intelligence systems and tools critically and ethically. This means understanding the underlying mechanisms of AI functions, assessing its outputs and limitations, and applying AI thoughtfully and responsibly across various contexts to ensure safe and effective use of the technology. This definition can be split into 4 frames: comprehension, application, evaluation, and ethics. The first frame is comprehension, understanding generative AI. The key here is knowing what AI is and what it can and cannot do so you can use it effectively and recognize its limitations. Generative AI is trained on massive amounts of data to generate new content in response to human input or prompts, and can create text, images, code, audio, video, and more. Many Gen AI tools are built on large language models that create responses by predicting patterns based on training data. There are models that use multiple LLMs and have multimodal capabilities as well, and the boundaries are widening all the time. But largely when you use tools like ChatGPT or Claude, this is what's happening behind the scenes. While Gen AI might at first glance seem like a magical, all-knowing, infallible entity with capabilities that far exceed our own, that is not the case. Outputs are generated based on patterns, not necessarily retrieval, and even tools that can access and retrieve information are not always accurate. These tools are not capable of independent thinking, reasoning, or understanding, nor are they a substitute for human expertise or judgment. They require human input, insight, and quality control. Gen AI is not, quote, thinking in the same way that you and I are thinking, and it's not aware or conscious in the same way that humans are. It's becoming more common to hear people anthropomorphizing current Gen AI models, including more advanced and up-and-coming agentic AI tools. But tools that replicate human cognitive abilities at a true human-level intelligence, like artificial general intelligence, or AGI, are only hypothetical at this point in time. The current tools available can still only do task-specific automation and functions that are predefined. Additionally, when you hear people talk about AI tools like ChatGPT, they might be saying artificial intelligence, but what they mean is machine learning, or deep learning, or generative AI, which are branches or subsets of the larger field of artificial intelligence. They might specifically be talking about large language models that generative AI tools use, and it can be really confusing. For a more in-depth look at specific terms and definitions, you can check out our AI Tools and Research Guide. The second frame is application, using generative AI effectively. The key message here is that Gen AI can perhaps be a useful thought partner and a tool for organization and productivity. As far as application in the academic environment is concerned, the large language models can be useful for brainstorming research topics and refining your research questions. They can also be used for generating keywords and Boolean search strings for searching in databases, defining and summarizing complex concepts in simpler terms, although it can still make mistakes, and then organizing ideas and creating outlines. It's built to layer upon itself so that you can draft ideas and iterate prompts to get better outputs. It's good to start with clear, specific prompts that give the tool some context, and then iterate using follow-up questions which aim to refine those responses. A lot of the tool creators will say it's good to think of it as a conversation, not as a one-time query. If you think of the tool like it's a thought partner, a Socratic partner, or a thought experiment, it can almost be like a game. And then from there you can take that thought experiment, reflect on it, and then go find relevant and reputable information and research. You can use Gen AI strategically for exploration and idea generation, and then build upon that foundation with verified sources. I mentioned using clear, specific prompts, but what is a prompt? A prompt is the set of instructions that you can give to a generative AI tool to perform a specific task and generate an output. These instructions can range from a few words to multiple sentences or several paragraphs. The more detailed, clear, and structured your instructions are, the more likely the AI will produce a useful, relevant, and accurate result. You can use the CLEAR framework to help you. CLEAR stands for concise, logical, explicit, adaptive, and reflective. So it's about brevity and clarity, being specific in your prompt and keeping things structured and coherent so as to maintain a logical flow of ideas. You want to make sure your output specifications are clear and precise as far as format, content, and scope. It is helpful to be flexible and customize your prompts. You can experiment with different ways to frame or phrase an issue and get different responses. And then the continuous evaluation piece is about being iterative and reflective so that your prompts and outputs will improve. On the left side of the screen is an example. Instead of saying, "Help me with my psych paper," you might try, "I'm writing an undergraduate research paper on social media's impact on youth mental health in the United States. Can you suggest 5 specific keywords and 3 search strings I could try in academic databases?" And then you could follow up with, "Great, what databases might I try the search in? Or what are some related terms and synonyms?" Remember, every interaction you have with an AI tool will be different because your input, the context, and the desired output will all vary. It varies from user to user, and it also varies from chatbot to chatbot. Even a small change like a new word or an additional detail can change the result. Every question, request, or piece of background information you provide is part of your prompt, and a well-crafted prompt can significantly improve the quality of the output. Also, if I were to ask the same question in the same way tomorrow, the chatbot would give me a totally different result as well. So that's something to be aware of. The third frame is evaluation, thinking critically about GenAI outputs. The key is to always verify and check information sources because generative AI can sound really confident even when it's wrong. You want to check for accuracy. We know that generative AI can just make things up, sometimes creating false information that sounds plausible but isn't real. This is often called a hallucination or a mirage. And again, some of this has gotten better in the last year with newer models, but it's still a common problem even in tools that can perform information retrieval. Also, bias. We have seen from looking at outputs from different chatbots over time that AI can reflect biases from its training data and may favor certain perspectives over others. Also, if its training data is inaccurate, the responses will also be inaccurate. The AI can only be as good as the data it was trained on. You also want to check the currency of the information and the sources used. A lot of training data has cutoff dates and information may be outdated. Even the chatbots that can retrieve real-time information may not always do so accurately at first. The bot may use outdated sources to retrieve the initial output and may need to be corrected. Additionally, AI-generated content may often lack citations entirely, or will sometimes completely fabricate references. This is especially important to look out for when looking for peer-reviewed articles. The bottom line is that generative AI is a starting point, not an endpoint. You are the researcher and the fact-checker when it comes to using these tools for academic purposes. Never trust Gen AI outputs without verification. Always cross-check claims against credible, authoritative sources, and if you need help figuring out what sources to use, come and talk to us at the library. One helpful tool that can help with fact-checking is the robot test. The robot test is an AI literacy tool for determining the legitimacy of AI technology. It functions similarly to the SIFT and RADAR methods and other tests used for fact-checking sources. You might try it alongside SIFT and RADAR and utilize lateral reading strategies to help you evaluate. Robot breaks down into reliability, objectivity, bias, ownership, and type. If you'd like to take a closer look, the QR code on this page links to our guide, where the robot test is broken down into parts with various questions, such as how reliable is the information available about the technology, what is the goal or objective of the use of AI, who is the owner or the developer of the technology, what kind of information system does it rely on, and so on. Using a tool like the robot test can help you evaluate the AI tools you are using, as well as their outputs and any online sources that may be linked to those outputs as well. Okay, so the last frame is ethics, using generative AI responsibly. It is imperative to apply critical thinking and use these tools ethically. Gen AI is a tool, and it can be used to perhaps amplify your thinking, but it isn't always reliable, and there are a myriad of other issues, concerns, and considerations that are worth considering and looking into as you navigate the AI world. And maybe some of these could be research topics for you to explore using one of the tools. Effective and ethical use of AI requires us to at least be aware of the potential issues. This word cloud here is not exhaustive, but the list has grown a bit in the last 2 years. Privacy and security, cybersecurity, transparency and access to the tools, biases, particularly automation bias and other biases that can lead to discrimination or other inequities, authorship and copyright issues, reliability of data, misinformation is a big one, environmental impact, and the list goes on. Again, the list has grown, and we may see even more potentials and solutions with time. In the last year, there have been strides toward transparency and accountability, and hopefully these trends continue. We are also seeing some great use cases, such as AI being built to enhance digital accessibility tools, or AI working to improve EKG and CAT scan imaging in healthcare, and AI working to find sustainable solutions for environmental issues, and so on. It is possible to harness these tools and find ethical applications that help benefit humanity and solve global challenges. It is also important to consider academic integrity and privacy when using these tools. Always check OSU policies, your syllabus from your instructor, and your class assignments to guide your generative AI use for your coursework. It's necessary to cite and disclose AI use when it is used. All the major citation styles like APA, MLA, Chicago style, etc. are updated with information on how to properly cite AI. Lastly, do not submit AI-generated work as your own. To review OSU policies, you can visit ITLE's guide on leveraging AI tools responsibly, which will be linked in the video notes. And then I really want to emphasize this privacy component as well. It is important to not put your own or anyone else's sensitive or confidential information or their intellectual property, like copyrighted works or student papers, into your prompts. The free versions of these chatbots still largely train on user input, or you have to opt out of having it train on your input. And so if you don't want the chatbot to train on your sensitive data, you will want to refrain from sharing the information. In other words, do not feed the bots. So in summary, an AI-literate individual will be able to understand, ethically apply, and critically evaluate these tools in a variety of settings. These core frames can be applied even as these tools continue to evolve. So why does it matter? We're all busy people living in the information age. Between coursework, life responsibilities, and the constant stream of information on our phones and devices, it can be overwhelming. And one of the biggest challenges living in a world with revolutionary technologies like the internet and AI tools is information overload. We are constantly inundated with endless information and sometimes misinformation and content on a daily basis with very limited time. And so we can possibly use tools like GenAI to help us save time, but we have to apply our critical thinking skills so we can really cut through the noise and work more efficiently. You can leverage AI tools while maintaining your judgment, creativity, and ethical standards. The goal isn't necessarily to avoid AI, it's to use it wisely. That way, we can move from chaos to clarity. And in terms of research and scholarship, that means being able to find reputable sources and quality information. AI can be helpful in this process, or it may not be. It's really about using the process that saves you the most time and gives you the most reliable results. It's important to understand what LLMs and chatbots are good for and what they're not good for. If you make a habit now of verifying every piece of information that comes out of these tools, then you'll be prepared for the shifting AI landscape. You can use these tools to explore and refine, identify synonyms and keywords, and create search strings, and then you can take that information and go find quality sources in library databases, scholarly repositories, and other trusted research tools. If you decide you want to use GenAI tools, practice using them to assist and brainstorm rather than asking them to do your work. Remember that you're responsible for the accuracy and integrity of your work as a student and researcher. Generative AI can assist with brainstorming and organization, but cannot replace original thinking. Your critical thinking skills, creativity, and analysis cannot be replaced. You can use generative AI as a research assistant, not as a replacement for your scholarship. Truly, the best research comes from human curiosity, questioning, and insight. How do you use AI tools? How do you feel about them? Do you have a favorite tool for research? Use this QR code to take our survey and let us know. Thank you for watching this video on building AI literacy skills. Visit tulsa.okstate.edu/library to access our full catalog of books, ebooks, articles, and more. You can reach out to us via chat, email, phone, or text with any questions you have. If you want to know more about AI tools and research skills, check out our Artificial Intelligence Guide. If you need more help with research, AI tools, or citations, you can make a research appointment. Check out our YouTube channel for more tutorials on searching and using library resources.